Namaskar and a very warm welcome to this session. Today in the session, we will be talking about two very amazing firefighting solutions for the microenvironment. We will be talking about the amazing MINI, which is the smallest firefighting solution for a microenvironment. When I say microenvironment, I mean places like your electrical panel, or for that matter, any enclosed panel. Apart from the MINI, we will also be talking about the extremely popular and very powerful in-panel tube-based system, that is our CQRS, or the Ceasefire Quick Response System. This particular session of ours would have a few things that we would cover, and let me talk to you about those. My name is Kaveri Misra, and the agenda for the session today is that initially I would like to talk to you a little about Ceasefire, a company we take pride in. Then we would like to talk about these two kings of the microenvironment fire solution systems, that is the Ceasefire MINI and the CQRS, the in-panel tube-based system. Of course, the discussion on these two products will be carried out by our subject matter expert, Mr. Pranav Devan, who will not only tell you about the product, but also showcase the product to you. At the end of this session, we will make it a point to take your questions, because I'm sure you would have a lot of questions that we would obviously be very happy to answer. And that's where we will end the session. So to start with, let me talk to you about Ceasefire. Ceasefire is one such brand, which is one of the rare brands in the world, I must say, which has a plethora of products under one umbrella. Our 360-degree safety solutions that we have, the fire safety solutions that we have, comprise of not only the fire extinguishers, and I'm not talking about the regular fire extinguishers like powder, water, foam, or CO2. I'm also talking to you about the special application-oriented extinguishers. For example, our very indigenous product which we call as the launcher. This product can be used both by automatically and also like a suppressing system by throwing it into the fire and allowing it to work automatically. Apart from that, we have the very powerful B+, which happens to be the best in class for B-class fires. We have the wonderful and the amazing technology of water mist being used in our water mist fire extinguishers. We bring to you not only the small handheld extinguishers, but also the mighty large wheel extinguishers. Apart from the extinguishers, we have a range of automated systems which can be customized as per your need. Apart from the fact that they could handle a number of applications like kitchen, transformers, generators, etc., these can be divided into two parts. One, the microenvironment systems that we are talking about today. Two of them we'll be talking about, two solutions we'll be talking about today. And the total flooding systems. Now, these total flooding systems can be divided into two different variants, various applications for two different variants. One being the water mist variant, and the second one being the gaseous total flooding systems. Our complete range, or rather our range can be completed by adding on the fire alarm systems as well as the evacuation solutions. Now, these are about the different product and the product ranges that we have. But I must tell you that our products are certified by multiple quality standards across the world. We are certified by BSI, BRE, PED, MED, VDS, Eurosat, and along with that, we also are ISO and OSAS certified. Our manufacturing unit, which is one of the best in the world, it is certified by ISO 9001 and OSAS. Not only that, we comply with the requirements of EN3, EN166, PED, MED, as well as FPC. Now, the beauty of Ceasefire not only lies in the fact that all our products are very technologically advanced, very simple but technologically advanced, but at the same time, it is the way that Ceasefire functions. ceasefire in India is spread all across from the length and breadth of the country, and therefore we are able to serve you better than almost everybody else. Not only are our distribution centers all in place, but all your after-sales needs are also very beautifully met through the after-sales team that we have, or the service team that we have. We have an in-house design team which is very well qualified to customize the solutions as per your requirement, as per your premises. And our technical support team is also present not only to install, but also to cater to any requirement that you could have in your premise. So you do not have to wait for a solution to come to you. Our teams are able to reach you well in time. Now, to come to the king of the session, like I said, we will be talking about two different products here. The first being Ceasefire Mini, the smallest of the firefighting giants that is there for the microenvironment. We will talk about that, and we will also talk about CQRS, the in-panel tube-based system. These products are very, very technologically advanced, but the beauty of this lies in the fact that operationally they're extremely simple. And I would request my subject matter expert, Pranav, to join us here, and he will actually showcase to you, not only by explaining, but also through demonstration, how simple these products are. Yet they take care of the fire risk, which is there in the very important panels, which can be the source of fire risk in your factories, in your industries, in your homes, name the premise. Every place you'll find an electric panel, if not other panels. So Pranav, over to you, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kaveri.
Yes.
Ceasefire has been in the market for quite a long time, and we have been developing products for IS standards like 15683 and other 16018. Besides all the international standards that Kaveri has told you. But we have been also been listening to our users. And a lot of times, Kaveri, we've been asked, what can you do about very small panels, ranging between 0.13 cubic meter to about 0.65 cubic meter? And we listened, and then we developed the Mini.
Something which can fit into the fuse box, which is there in my house?
Yes. And these small extinguishers work on quadzoid technology, where you have a small bulb which can sense your fire within these small enclosures, and then they can operate an extinguisher of fire requiring very minimal amount of agent, ranging from about 100 grams to 500 grams. We have the quadzoid bulb in various temperature ranges also, ranging from 57, 68, and 93 degrees centigrade. Depending on your ambient temperature, you can select your appropriate extinguisher for your panel.
Does this mean, Pranav, that when we're looking at Mini, we have various options, not only by the volume of that place which has to be, which is at risk, but also the temperature?
Absolutely.
Oh.
And with this great choice, you can have a very nice extinguisher which can work in areas like educational institutes, where people have very limited, fire professionals to help you. So this is where our Mini comes in. I don't want to hold our clients back from, seeing this beautiful product. So let's go to our AI center and see this product is working and its demonstration as to how it operates on fire.
Hello viewers, welcome to Ceasefire's Advanced Intelligence Center. Today we have two flagship technologies from Ceasefire.
So let's look at these products a little more in detail before we look at the final demonstration of this product. So please stay with us till the end of the session. Product over here, we have the Ceasefire Mini. Now Ceasefire Mini comes in two categories. One is the Ceasefire Intuitive and the other one is the Ceasefire Adaptive. Both these products have been developed to suppress fire in small enclosures like MCB boxes, small relay boxes, and any other box you see as a fire hazard. They are so small that they can be installed within these boxes. Where can they be used? They can be used in educational institutions, high-rise buildings where people aren't trained to fight fire. They need something which is automated to work. Let's see a little more about this product. Let's look at the intuitive. The intuitive has a pressurized propellant within a cylinder, and it has a small chamber. As soon as a fire is detected, the bulb on top of this chamber bursts and the piston moves out, pushing all the extinguishing content within this chamber, which comes out of these small holes. The next is the adaptive. The adaptive again has the same kind of arrangement as the intuitive, but the only difference is that here you have a connection or an extension which allows you to connect the cylinder from outside of the enclosure. So if you do not have space within your enclosure, you can also use this product from outside. The capacities which they come in is 100 grams, 200 grams, 300 grams, 400 grams and 500 grams. Each category can handle 0.13 square cubic meter. So for very small enclosures from 0.13 square meter, you can go up to 0.65 cubic meter. So as they prepare for the demonstration, let me tell you what we've got verified from BSI. BSI has checked the product's quality. It has checked which is the optimum place or location to place the product for extinguishment. It has checked that the whole area or the volume is protected by the set quantity or volume, and it extinguishes fire everywhere. It has also defined where and how the product should be installed. So let's go ahead and look at the working of the system. I'll step back and let you enjoy the demonstration. So viewers, we have our extinguisher installed at the top of the enclosure. We have placed cups at various locations. For a successful demo, we should be able to extinguish all these cups which are being filled with heptane. And let's see how this demonstration goes. While we're putting in our fuel, let me tell you something more. All enclosures do have certain amount of opening. BSI has also verified the limits of opening that can be done for any kind of enclosures. Maybe cable entry points or any other points for cooling or any other kind of protection which you need to put over there. So our cups are topped up, and now we're going to light fire over here. So as the temperature gradually rises and it reaches the point of 57 degrees centigrade, for which the bulb has been set, the system will actuate, the gas will come out, and by the process of heat elimination, it will put out the fire, and chemical interaction, which will knock down the fire. Temperature gradually rising, and we should see actuation soon. So this is an intuitive model which we have placed within this cabinet. If there was no space, then we can also use an adaptive model which can be attached from outside the cabinet. We have ranges from 0 millimeter to 150 to 200 millimeters, and depending on the depth to which we have to attach our equipment, we can use the barrel sizes. So it works both ways, with space and without space. So we should have activation soon. Mini can be used in a lot of places for a single volume protection. As I told you, from anywhere between 0.13 cubic meter to a 0.65 cubic meter. And that's accuracy. As you see, everything has been put out. And what we can do is we can relit the cups to see if there was any fuel left inside. So we relight the cups. So you see the extinguishment has been successfully completed. There was still fuel inside the cups and the fire was successfully put out.
That was amazing, absolutely amazing,
Thank you,
Pranav.
Kaveri.
Pranav, I had a couple of first thing what I understood from this. Okay, I know the product, but for the point of view of our viewers is what I'm telling you. So we have two different variants. If my enclosure was large enough to hold the gadget, that is to hold the cylinder inside, then we would place it inside. That is the cylinder would be placed inside, which is the intuitive. And in case it is very thin, like the one which is there in my house, the fuse box is very, very thin. And so we would put a barrel there and therefore it becomes an adaptive and we can place the adaptive, use the adaptive form of the Mini.
Yes, here your enclosure would be, not flush within the wall, it would be outside of the wall.
Okay.
So you can place it or you can place it from the door itself.
All right.
And as I told you in the video, we have various kind of extension ranging from 0, that is just the bulb inside, and then 100 mm and 150 mm parallel extensions with the 0 and 150 mm can go up to 200 mm. So depending on what is your width, you can have your detector quite within the enclosure to have an optimum, detection and extinguishment.
Wonderful. There's another question which came to my mind, and probably some of your viewers may also ask you the same. At the last stage, you said something about, that a little of the fuel is left. What did you mean by that?
Kaveri, we were just trying to demonstrate that, the fire just did not go out because the fuel had finished.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to show you, that there's still fuel inside, okay, but the extinguishment was done by the agent.
Wonderful.
So the agent we have inside is HFC 2278.
Okay.
Okay, and that is how it works. Is it eliminates all the heat, which is the most important component in fire, and with the chemical interference, it knocks out the fire quite early in the stages. Okay, so one, you are knocked down, and the other is that you have no reignition.
So let us now move on to our second king of the day, and that is the in-panel tube-based system, ceasefire quick response system. Wait. Okay.
Now, the
let me,
tube-based, yeah.
I'm sorry for this. Please, I would request you to please get into.
Okay, Kaveri, the tube-based in-panel system is an ingenious technology. We have a very discrete kind of problem over here. Say you have these singular enclosures, the one like we were seeing now, but it's a big panel now. And in these panels, you have enclosures ranging from a small size to very large sizes. Now, if we are doing enclosures up to 2 cubic meter, then we have designed something called the tube-based in-panel low pressure direct or high pressure direct systems. Here what happens is the tube is, there's a tube which is connected to your extinguishing cylinder, and this tube is pressurized and it is equivalent to the pressure within the cylinder. And this runs unobtrusively throughout the panel. Okay.
So wherever
there is.
Yeah.
And why unobtrusively? Because we don't want to trouble people with the daily maintenance requirements.
Sure.
So as this tube runs through all enclosures, what it does is that it detects the precise area where the fire has happened. And secondly, it also delivers the extinguishing agent to that very spot. This is what is so unique about it, because if you can identify how much of agent you require, it is always to a very small quantity, up to 2 kg. And that means with very little extinguishment, you can protect your whole panel.
So the way I understand it is that wherever the fire happens, with the the tube which is running above that area, there's a puncture in the tube. The pressurized gas which is there inside the tube is released, starting off or starting the suppression system in a way, activating the system in a way. So this tube is working in two ways. Not only is it acting as a detecting system, it is also activating the system. And the fire gets put out because the agent now flows out of this tube to put out the fire.
And this tube is the heart of the whole system, because this tube is just not an ordinary tube.
Okay.
It is a tube which has been checked by LPS 1666, a standard to which low pressure system conforms to. But this tube works in two different distinct ways. One is that it can be say a precise temperature detection, where the flame actually touches the tube and the tube creates a puncture at that spot.
Yes.
The other could be that you do not have a flame which touches it, but your ambient temperature is rising quite rapidly. Now you can imagine that you have a very rigid tube, and this rigid tube will soften as and when the temperature rises. But the thing is, the tube is able to detect the weakest spot, the heat concentration on the tube, and that is where it is going to burst. So again, it works like a rate of rise detector. So the tube is the heart of the system, and it is what makes this system so efficient.
And simple, because we really do not need too many components for the system.
Yes, and on the other hand, we have another tube-based suppression system, which is for more than 2 cubic meter. Okay, here we are using an indirect system where what is the requirement? The requirement is that you might have to expel a lot of gas, a lot of volume of gas in a large area. So we use the indirect system that is again available in the low pressure and the high pressure being CO2 cylinders. Here, what happens, the tube only plays the role of detection in the way I've just told you. But the other thing is that the expulsion of the agent comes out through a separate dedicated line with nozzles. So you can expel large quantities, okay, in a very short period of time, and you can extinguish fire in larger volumes too. So that is the indirect system.
So what I understand of this is that our CQRS therefore has two variants, that is the direct as well as the indirect, and each one of them has a high pressure and a low pressure variant in itself.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. So, are we ready to see the
So what we're going to do, viewers, we'll take you to our AI center again, where I'm joined by another matter expert, Mr. Akash Das, and let me demonstrate to you and tell you some more about the agents available in these cylinders and the type of tube, how it works, and in the end, but not the least, the most interesting part, the demonstration of actually seeing how the system works, operates, and puts out a fire. And please stay on with us, because as soon as we come back from AI Center or demonstration, we'll take on any questions and answers you have on this topic.
Absolutely.
Let's go, John.
Hello viewers, my name is Pranath Devan. Today we're going to give you a very brief insight into this flagship technology from ceasefire. CQRS and ceasefire quick response system has a key component called heat sensing tube. This heat sensing tube is a modified polyamide, and this flows through the system and senses the flame and extinguishes the fire. The heat sensing tube is connected, on the way it is used in the system dictates how we categorize the system. So we have two categories, the direct and the indirect systems. For the direct system, the heat sensing tube is connected to the valve. Okay. The heat sensing tube will burst open as soon as it detects a fire, and the extinguishing agent pressurized with in the cylinder would come out from the same miniature hole.
Okay.
This would be the direct.
So that therefore it is called direct. Okay. What is the other version we have?
The other version would be the indirect system, where the heat sensing tube is connected to the head of the valve.
Okay.
Here the tube just detects the fire and depressurizes, facilitating the opening of the valve, and the extinguishing agent then comes out through a separate port, which is quite bigger.
So the discharge line is different.
Discharge line is different.
Okay.
So in this way, we can also use powder as a extinguishing agent.
So in the direct version, now what are the firefighting agent we are using, Pranav?
See, let's look at first understand the application areas.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yes.
if we have to look at the application areas, we will have all kind of CNC machines, all kind of electrical panels, okay, injection molding machines, UPS panels, your server racks, your switching panels,
All enclosed area.
all enclosed areas. Plus, you can also use the indirect system in your commercial vehicles like trucks, buses, cars, and then also you can use it in heavy transport material, transport equipment like ships, cargos, and aeroplanes.
Okay.
Okay, but as you coming back to your question, like what kind of a variance we have in the direct system? Okay, we have 2 kg, 3 kg, and 4 kg in fluoroketones.
Okay.
Okay, and 2 kg and 4 kg in HFC 227EA, and 2 kg and 4 kg again in HFC 236FA. These are those variants which are certified by LPS or LPCP as per LPS 100.
Okay. That's the standard for
That's the
this.
standard for this.
Okay.
Plus, we also have the sizes of 6 and 9 kg. In the same way.
Okay. And indirect version?
For the indirect version, we have in gas, or we have the HFC 227EA, then we have MAP 90 and fluoroketone in 246 and 9. Okay. There's another partition into direct and indirect system called the low pressure and the high pressure system.
Okay.
And this is only to how the gas has been stored within the cylinder. So if it's a low pressure system like a gaseous system which is at 15 bar, it is called the low pressure system. And if it's CO2 which is stored at high pressure, we have 2 and 5 kg CO2 cylinders over here.
Okay. So since we have already explained the system, why don't we see the live installation so that they will understand it better?
Very well, Akash. A live installation will.
So this is a direct.
It is a direct system.
Okay.
And if you look at over here, there's a very we have a pressurized engine cylinder. Okay, and to this cylinder we have a direct low pressure valve attached to it. We have an integrated ball valve in this system. Okay, and this position of the ball valve can be monitored at all times. Okay, this helps in detecting and increasing the reliability of the system.
There is less chances of leakage because
Less
it's
chances.
integrated.
It is integrated. So this is how it happens. You have a pressurized engine cylinder. To this, we are connecting the heat sensing tube. The heat sensing tube flows unobtrusively throughout the risk areas.
Okay.
And you can cover multiple partitions within the panel.
Okay.
Okay. So the same tube is protecting the whole panel in such a way.
Fine.
Okay.
So here, as you said, this tube only detects the fire and extinguishes
The
fire.
Okay. So the tube is pressurized and it is equalized to the pressure within the engine cylinder. As soon as there's a fire, there's a miniature hole which is created. The agent will flow out directly onto the fire source and extinguish it.
Okay. Let's see the indirect.
In the indirect system, as I told you before, the heat sensing tube is again connected to the head of the valve. The valve will be closed till the time the heat sensing tube is pressurized.
Okay.
Okay, we use dry nitrogen to do that. The expulsion of the gas would be through a separate line.
Okay.
Okay.
If you can just see it from inside, the tube is there, which is to detect the fire, and there is a separate discharge, pipeline, and nozzles are there. Right, Pranav?
Yes.
Okay. So what about this, response panel?
Akash, as per SOE, this system is totally independent. Okay, it does not require any external help to operate. It's a pneumatic system. We have a response panel or a monitoring panel which monitors the health of the system. Now, if we were to look at, if the valve is closed or open, this panel can, tell you about that, warn you about that. It can monitor the pressure within the HSC.
This can be also integrated with any,
third-party devices.
Yes.
It
Okay.
can be integrated to your fire alarm. Okay, or if you want to do any other kind of, integration as into biometrics and all that can be done through, non-potential contacts within the system.
Since now we have seen the installation, let's see the system in action with a live
absolutely.
fire. Okay, why don't we light the fire, please?
So we're going to see the indirect system first.
This is the direct.
This is the direct system first.
Okay.
As you see, the fire started, and now we are waiting for
At what temperature, Pranav, this
about
tube ruptures?
150 to 180 degrees centigrade. How fast it operates. show the miniature hole which has been created.
So this is what the direct system operates.
Direct system. This is how the direct system operates. Let's look at the indirect system.
Let's look at the indirect system.
Again, we are simulating a fire inside.
Let's light a fire. So in indirect system, the discharge will happen from the
nozzles above.
Separate pipeline.
Yes. The tube will just detect, depressurize, open the valve.
Okay. So this
So
is
any singular enclosure which requires a large discharge, we can use the indirect system.
okay.
And plus, if we require to use something like a potter, then you have a larger orifice which we can use. So we can use the indirect system.
Okay.
That was yet another very, very amazing demonstration that we saw. And here I would like to also ask you, Pranab, I could very clearly in this demonstration see that puncture that happened. So is it the characteristic of this tube? Is there some speciality of the tube that this puncture is so clear?
Yes, Kaveri, if you heard me earlier, the tube is just a polymer. Okay, it's a rigid tube. So under pressure, the puncture is going to be relative to the pressure within the chest. Okay, so the tube has been tested for various ranges of temperature. So at any particular time, we do not have a very miniature hole which could delay your discharge. On the other hand, we have also limited, the length of the HSP as to number of branches, so you have a proper
Which is as
discharge.
per the LPS.
LPS 1666.
Yes.
And again, LPS 1666 also verifies another thing, Kaveri, that is that the amount of openings you can have within these panels.
Oh.
Okay, if you have forced ventilation. Okay, so LPS ceasefire high certification for these two with the airflow. If you have what to what limits you can have the airflow within the panel, because a lot of panels have cooling systems within. So even with that, the system works.
So therefore, you must be requiring by customizing the system, the amount of agent which is required would take into account the various inlets and outlets which are there.
Yes, if you were to look at, mostly of what my concern would be, or any design person's concern would be that, to have the very correct side of the agent cylinder, where we are doing LPS 1666 certified system, which is up to 2 cubic meters. Now, what happens is I don't want to even use a great amount of agent until there's quite a large opening to have a consistent volume within the enclosure. But if there were none, then using too much of agent would also result in an overflow, which is like overkill. So 2 kg is something we ceasefire systems have been optimized to work with 2 kg cylinders, and
Wonderful.
that's the most wonderful part of it.
Great. So viewers, these are the two technologically extremely advanced products that you saw. But you saw the entire process of the functioning was so simple. We would be very, very happy to respond to any kind of question that you have. So if we could just move on to the question and answer session. So if anybody has any question, we'll be very, very happy to answer. I see some of our business partners are also a part of the session here who are participating in the program. We'd love to answer any question that you have.
Just please place your questions in the Q&A section. We might lose you in the chat, so please put your questions in Q&A section, which you'll find at the bottom of the screen.
So I guess for most people, this has been a simple presentation where you understood everything, but we are very open to you asking us any question. We'll be happy to respond to any questions that you send our way. for our this could come from our Facebook viewers as well as people who are there in this particular presentation. We have Pawan Purushree asking us a question. At what temperature does
yes,
the tube work?
Kaveri, I got this. There are two questions, and one is that at what temperature the tube will operate, and the other is how does the tube senses from where to burst. So let me take this question by a small explanation. Say I have a tube, okay? The surface of the tube, if it is touched by a flame, okay, it will have a pinpoint heat source or heat flux concentration. The tube is going to rupture at that point. So this can happen anywhere between 80 to 90 degrees centigrade. Of course, to have exact temperature, it's not going to be very possible. And it is also relative to pressure within the tube. Okay, if you have high pressures, it might rupture even at low temperatures. The other thing which could influence this thing would be how far from the fire the tube is placed. Okay, so LPS 1666 has tested this thing also, and we usually place our tubing between 0 to 120 mm at the max. If the heat sources are hot, then we can also go up to 685, depending on the influx of heat from neighboring chambers. So the tube can rupture like that also. On the other hand, if we were to understand how does the tube detect, okay, so this tube is a multi-layer. When we say polyamide, then it's a specific kind of material which has the sensitivity to actually have a distinct point of weakness where from it can burst. So let's first understand at 20 degrees centigrade, this tube can support up to 120 bar of pressure.
Oh my God.
Okay, it is UV protected. It is not affected by UV light. So even if you are putting in CNC machines where you use different kind of light sources to harden your material, this tube can work even at that place. And even the small sparks emit UV lights within the panels, which could not be fire, but they often keep happening. So this tube is not affected by that. Second thing would be that this tube, when it's placed in a temperature which is say an ambient temperature, which is like you don't have a flame, but something which is actually heating up very fast and heating the environment very fast. The tube will soften at all ends. It's the whole ambient area where the tube is going to soften. But there'll be one area within this portion which is receiving the maximum heat. Okay, and this is the point where the tube will distinguish between the ambient temperature and the maximum temperature. So imagine a 360-degree, and from the point where you actually receive the maximum heat, the tube is going to be ruptured from only that point and then sprayed directly onto the fire. Okay, making the most efficient use of your finishing agent. So do not neglect your tube and its connectors. These are the most important things.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So I think we've also answered the question which says how does it sense from where to burst.
Yes,
So
I
we've
took it
answered
together.
that too. So now it's for server rooms. This is from total fire protection. For server rooms, is it possible to install only CQRS or total flooding system?
For server rooms, it's possible to install only CQRS or total flooding system. I have two takes on this thing. If you are doing, if you're doing servers, okay, I would expect you to use the indirect system rather to use the direct system. Just take a small hypothesis on this thing. Say you have various layers of tubing. Okay, if you use the direct system, the tube is going to rupture and send your extinguishing out from that point. Say it happens at the bottom of the server panel. The server panel has a lot of openings for cooling. So your most expectancy with this heavy gases would be that it will flow out. It will not rise within the enclosure. So here I would rather choose, say, nozzles being on the top of the server and let it spray from there. So yes, you can use it, but select the indirect system. Okay, and for against yes. Now, if you want to protect your machine, if you had seen in my demonstration that your panels, we had done a lot of fires within those, but you've never seen any of our components burnt out. So if you want to protect the machine, you should go in for the CQRS system. But if you want to protect the room, which can have various hazards and you can,
Maybe other
there
equipment as
a
well.
split, yeah, UPS system or say a split AC, then I would suggest that you going for a total flooding system. But if it was my place, I would go for both, because if I have a fire, I would rather save my machine and also my building.
But at the same time, we also have a very wonderful SQRS, the server
Yes.
protection system that we have, which is specific for your servers.
And it
So we
uses,
can talk about
yes,
it.
it uses almost the same kind of detection, but here the detection will be faster. With the SQRS, you have something called, the smoke detection system, which is quite, but even faster than the tube.
Yes.
Okay, so tube response can be adjusted by placing it as close to the source as possible. But on the other hand, when smoke starts rising, it is even earlier than having that extent of heat.
So that's very, very SQRS or the server quick response system is very specific to servers. However, CQRS can be used for various applications. Here we have Abhijit asking us whether can the existing CO2 cylinders be fitted with the heat sensing tube.
Abhijit, this would not be possible because you need a specific high pressure valve to be fitted on the CO2 cylinders. So definitely these come fitted onto your cylinders, and they're all PPE certified. So whole unit should be bought together.
All right. Now we have what would be the application areas for CQRS Indirect MAP 90? Asif wants to know.
As I told you earlier in my demo center, see, MAP 90 is an agent which is most effective on areas or volumes which have large enclosures. Gas requires enclosures. You need a certain concentration of gas within it. So I would say any kind of machine ranging from say buses, the engines of buses, engines of heavy moving vehicles, trucks, maybe even earth movers, okay, which have a very high temperature. Okay, that will be the kind of application or similar applications.
Which applications would you suggest for direct and indirect systems?
My idea to be direct and indirect would be only in the limitation of how much volume and what agent I'm using. So, and what is the kind of enclosure? So there are three kind of parameters which I have to look at. So if I'm doing very small enclosures up to 2 cubic meters, and I'm using gas, then I can go for a low pressure direct or a high pressure direct. But if I'm using large volume discharge requirements and I'm doing agents like fodder, maybe even foam or any other requirement, then I would rather go for an indirect system, low pressure or high pressure. But again, the choice of agent will be enclosed, not enclosed.
Great. Any other questions from our viewers? We will be very happy to respond to any other questions that you have. You can write to us, get into our website and chat with us and ask us any question. We'll be happy to respond. Thank you. So we have another question. How does the indirect CQRS system, how the indirect CQRS system can protect engine in the vehicle? This is a car. So we're in the car.
Okay, any kind of an engine would have a B-class source if it's giving any kind of
petrol,
diesel, kerosene. Okay, maybe it's not even an engine in a car. It could just be your generator, genset engine. So what we do is we have, the coverage of our nozzles. We statistically place the nozzle as per the design of the engine, and also seeing that what kind of complex surfaces it has, and to cover all these surfaces with these nozzle alignments. And then we have a tube which runs close to this area, and when the tube detects a fire, okay, the valve on the indirect system would open due to depressurization on the head of the valve, and the discharge would happen from a separate line and out through the nozzles.
So the process or the working is the same. It is just the application which changes, yes, and the area where we are going to be doing the suppression. So what is the agent's expiry time?
If you're talking gases, then most of these gases have limitless, expiry time. But we are limited by the laws of the land, which require that the agent cylinders need to be checked for their hydrostatic pressure test.
Every 3 years.
Every
At the
3
end of the
years,
third year,
5
you need to
years,
go
depending on CO2.
depending on whether it is carbon dioxide or the other gases or any other product for that matter. So it could either be at the end of 3 years or for CO2 at the end of every 5th year.
And if we're talking further, we can go up to 6 years.
I guess that's also the
Yes.
5
3
years.
years, we have to
3
go
years and
further.
then 3 years you need to.
But the agents have a very long life. It is only that, the agents have to be replaced when we are doing hydrostatic test and we are refilling the cylinders. That is the time we need to change.
So thank you so much for being with us all this while, and keep your eyes peeled out for more such sessions where we can get together and discuss some other wonderful programs that inspire us within its kitty. Thank you so much.
Thank you.